Is it looking
All
okay,
right.
Daniel?
Yeah, I think so. I think so.
Okay, good,
Excellent.
cool.
All right.
I'll
So
take
it's 10
3D off
o'clock.
your voice, Daniel. Hang on. Okay, you're good.
Oh, yeah. All right. So I'm going to make a start. It's 10 o'clock. I'm sure we're going to have a few more people coming to join us. Hope you're all comfortable and you can hear me well. Everyone hear me well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lovely. Fantastic. Okay. Well, I don't want to make this much of a kind of front-facing lecture. But I do want to share a bit of news with you, and then towards the end we'll have a couple of chats. And it's kind of very informal, this one, even though I do have slides up. There's a couple of bits of news I want to share with you. But first of all, thank you very, very much for coming, all of you. And I hope, well, I could imagine that a number of you know Educators in VR already, but we have done most of our content really. Just going to stand up here. What happens when I stand up, Chris? Do I have
Are
to
you on the
be...
quest? Are you on the quest? Just hold your Oculus thumb button down, the little button.
Yep.
Hold it down for a couple seconds, and it will
I'm on the
recenter
Rift.
you.
I'm on
Oh,
the
you're on
Rift.
the Rift. So go into your VR mode settings and hit
Yep.
recenter position.
Okay. Is that better?
There you go. You look great.
Okay, cool. I'm going to stand for this one. There you go. All right. So yeah, we've done most of our content so far on AltSpace VR, which is a cool platform for many things, but I'm in love with Engage for many other reasons. Special effects, like these 3D models you can bring in, and the rocket launching and stuff like that. And there's a number of other features of Engage that I like, and we've always considered ourselves kind of platform agnostic. Now is not the time to lock oneself down to any particular platform. And we've been from the outset busy trying to find platforms that can do any kind of multi-user functionality with a particular focus on how it might be used in education and training, but as also talking about that in a minute. I'm just going to get my slides ready here. Chris, if I do this, does this change the slides? Oh no, we're not live. Right, I need to load the slides quickly. Sorry. I have some slides here as well. There we go. There we go.
Anna, if you'd like to
Okay.
soft mute yourself, we're getting a lot of feedback.
There we
your
go.
headset
There, that's better. All right. Hi Anna, how you doing?
Hi. Yeah.
Is that Benjamin David?
Cool. Hey,
Is that
Ben.
Benjamin David? Hey, glad you could make it, man. Hey, and Bobby Carlton there. We got some good friends in the house. Sue Glasgow, Tony from Discord, right? The video guy. Excellent. Wonderful. Yeah. So I was just saying we're kind of, I want to come more to other platforms now with Educators in VR. We've done most of our stuff in AltSpace VR, which has served us well and will continue to be there. But now's the time really to expand our program to regular events, to platforms such as Engage, maybe Roomy, maybe others. I'm aware of quite a big group of people called Embrace XR or XR Embrace, and they're going around town trying every single platform, big screen, and hubs and frame and all this. So I think the current situation is kind of accelerating VR, social VR, multi-user VR quite a lot. And there's some great groups out there doing great work. I know the VRARA has just commissioned something, I think sponsored by Metaverse, which is going to be a publicly available resource with the relative features, strengths, and weaknesses of all the different multi-user social VR platforms. So keep a lookout for that as well. I think that's being published April 6th or something like that, I heard anyway. So for those of you who maybe don't know Educators in VR, very, very briefly, I started with Laurel van Vossen. We co-founded this thing in 2018, and we started just as a very simple meetup there. 2018, that was the very first meetup we did in AltSpace, where I met Laurel, and we had a great time. And we got talking about it and said, you know, we should do another one. And monthly events became bi-monthly, or so, 2 weeks, 2 events a month, and then 1 event a week. And now we're doing 2, 3, 4 events a week. And of course, we built a school here in AltSpace VR. We had a school built by Mark, who's really cool. And then many of you, I think, will have heard of the 2020 Educators in VR International Conference there on the right. And we all had a great time. We had a great time in Altspace. We had a fantastic time here in Engage. I remember Chris Madsen here flying me around the moon base on a whale whilst we were talking to one of the speakers, and we had different panels here. And yeah, that's a very, very brief tour of what we did. And that led to the this picture here. This was our representation of the summit. We had lots of summit selfies sent in, and it really was, for me, I still get goosebumps thinking about it. It was a moment where the whole industry, it seemed, and definitely the whole community came together. We put on this thing for free. We had amazing support from all the platforms, from Engage, Somnium Space, Rumi, and it felt like all together we did that. We had so many volunteers come up and, just step up when we needed it, and all together we put on something special. And that obviously was amplified by the fact that we have the coronavirus among us and around us. So since the summit, we've had a lot of requests, as I'm sure I know if Engage and Chris Madsen and Hubs have had requests for how to put on conferences for real world events that are being shut down around the world. So Laurel and I are actually starting a kind of a separate venture called Conferences in VR, where we're putting together a team of people who can work with clients to find out what they need, how big, how small, how varied they need their services. And we're going to be, well, we've already started actually working with some clients on some upcoming events. Of course, Vive and Alvin Mangrelian and Engage put on the amazing V2EC, the Vive conference there. If you didn't see that, that was amazing. And then recently we just had the IEEE VR, which went fully digital as well on Mozilla Hubs. Personally, I wasn't able to attend. I tried a number of times. Not sure exactly what happened, but I heard from many other people that it was a very, very interesting experience. Obviously, being web VR is quite interesting to see that web VR has come that far. And I think we'll see a whole bunch more virtual conferences coming our way in the next few weeks and months. One of the things that we're really proud to announce that last week we partnered up with the Immersive Learning Research Network, iLearn. They've been going for many years, and they've been doing a lot of research in this space, and they will continue to do so. And they recently also decided to put their iLearn conference, which is in June, into VR. And so educators in VR are going to be doing that. It's a 4 or 5 day event. We're going to be working cross-platform again. So really excited about not only partnering with the iLearn community, because it really marries up the academic, the vigorous academic research with the grassroots practitioners from educators in VR. And both of us have kind of a global membership. So it's a really good match. We're really proud about that. We also, most of you will know this this wonderful guy, Tom Furness of the Virtual World Society. Yeah, so we also have partnered up with the Virtual World Society, which is wonderful because of their kind of VR for good purpose, and their values are wonderful in this space, and they have a huge membership. They have a lot of credibility in this space. And also we're working for the end of the year on an event with the Virtual World Society, which we're going to go all out for. I don't want to really announce much more than that. You'll be hearing about this shortly, but we're very, very excited not only to become part of the Virtual World Society family, but also to be working on a big, big event towards the end of the year together. Very, very excited about some of the things to come out of that collaboration and partnership. And then you may have heard me speak a number of times about something we call the Borderless Classroom. This is a legacy left by our dear friend Chris Long. He shared with me his vision of a borderless classroom where 2 schools remotely could connect in VR, any platform, and work and learn, and teachers can put on learning sessions for students, you know, anywhere in VR. And we're growing this to a Borderless Classroom network. We are shortly going to be announcing an expression of interest where you can sign up if you're even remotely interested in this concept and you're attached with a school or you kids you want to join in. The idea is that we're going to develop a database, a searchable database with school profiles, and you might be a school. So my son's school here in Wales, they might say, we're studying the Great Wall of China, and in China there's a school living right next to the Great Wall of China who's studying the Snowdonia National Park where we live. They could collaborate, they could meet independently, or they might have, I might put on a session about the Great Wall of China and Snowdonia, and they could all join my my session. So we're really excited about this. We've talked a fair bit about it, and it's still in development, but we're about to be kind of putting out the call for expression of interest. So expect that to come soon as well. Also want to give a big shout out to our friend and track leader, Tim Jackson here. He's a great guy. He's in the UK as well, in Kent. And just last week, or that is on Monday, he came to Engage, I think, in Altspace, didn't he, Chris? Was it Engage as well that he came to, and Altspace? And he took his students, because the schools and colleges have all shut down, he gave them all his headsets from the college lab, and he's teaching now, I think, the full week in VR, which is like 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the afternoon with homework. He's going all out with this. So I want to give a big shout out to Tim Jackson for the work he's doing. You can see there he's wrangling laptops and headsets and all kinds. He was maybe going to be coming today. I don't know if he's here. He had some issues with audio and stuff like that. He might drop in later. Yeah, so as you can see, the development since January, that was the old normal, and now we're trying to find a new normal with this situation. But also, the conference was a bit of a starting gun for people to realize, hey, this stuff is ready. So a lot of you kind of knew that already. I'm preaching to the converted here. But the outside world, hi Ryan, how you doing, man? Take a seat, my friend. The outside world kind of took notice a little bit more of the reality of VR conferences, and now people are teaching full weeks in VR. And myself also, I run a VR lab at our college in Wales. And this is a picture from yesterday from Altspace, and I got 10 of my managers, so the management, into Altspace VR. I gave them all Oculus Quests. We have a bunch sitting around the college. They were going to be doing nothing, so I handed them out to the management, gave them some instructions, and fair enough, 10 of them made it into Altspace. I would have wanted to bring them into Engage, Chris, but I couldn't sideload it to the headsets before the college shut down. I tried, my friend. As soon as we're back to back into college and everything's safe and sound, I'm side questing the hell out of them, and I'm going to get them in here and everywhere else as well. For now, I have to kind of work with what we've got. But I was very proud of my management, because it really shows kind of an open mindset. That you know, these good people and kind of open-minded, but still they're most of them old school thinkers. So the fact that they not only got the headset set up and downloaded Altspace and came in, they're actually talking about having a management meeting in there next week. Might take a couple of more tries to kind of smooth things out. But this is really opening the door for me. The fact that my college is going to have firsthand experience of these kind of social VR forces. When I come back to college and things open up again, I'm going to have a lot of buy-in from my management. They're going to have understanding of what I'm talking about, as opposed to me just jabbering on about, hey, put a headset on, it's really cool. So it's exciting times for me as well. And then, of course, yesterday we also had one of our fantastic members, Michael McDonald, who lives in the southern tip of Italy, in a place called Lecce. And of course, you know that Italy's in full lockdown, and they're really struggling with emergency services, coping with the crisis there. So he decided to do 24-hour English lesson in VR to raise money for the emergency services in Lecce. And he went, yeah, I can't imagine what that's like, 24 hours in VR teaching English. He pulled it off really well. I think he raised like 2,000-3,000 euros as well, which is awesome. Going to go straight to the emergency services there, which really proud of him for doing that. What else we got? Yeah, oh, this is a big one. Off the back of the success of the summit, we have taken courage in launching something called Students in VR. We've been meaning to do this for a long time, but now's the time really to do this with so much attention, so much momentum behind all this. We are, I think it's early May. We're working with a number of is there an issue with audio? So I'm getting some signals here. No, everything okay? Or are you trying to do thumbs up because it's a cool project? I hope it's that. All right. But it's the first step for an ongoing project for us where we want to give the students around the world a voice. We want to elevate what they're doing and bring them in, because it's cool having educators in VR, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of training has to happen for a lot of schools for educators in those schools to be able to really deliver convincing, pedagogically sound experiences. But really, we can almost leapfrog a lot of that by getting the students in and mentoring them, enabling them. You know, this is an experience, this is a platform, this is a canvas for students, and we want to start this journey with the students to get them going under their own steam. So this is our first project under the banner of Students in VR. I think we're also going to be starting a separate website for that, so keep a lookout. And then that's kind of the news and update for this session. I didn't want to have it be a very long front lecture, but I wanted to maybe have a bit of a conversation with you guys now, see where you're at, because I have a feeling you've all had a lot of time on your hands and you've been getting up to your own stuff in VR, and I really want to kind of just listen in a little bit, see if anybody's got anything to share. How about we do this? If anybody, I might pick on people, but if anybody's got something to share off the bat, raise your hand. We'll switch your microphone free. Can jump up on the stage with me. Anyone doing anything interesting, seen anything interesting in this space? We got, oh yeah, okay. Tim Burnt, yeah, come on up, Tim. Great stuff. How you doing?
Can you hear me, everybody?
Yeah, excellent. Yeah.
So I'm really glad to be here with everybody, because just yesterday I'm a doctoral student at the University of St. Thomas in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and I'm specifically looking for 15 K-12 educators and how you're using VR. So what I'm asking is if you are, I'm looking for like the pioneers, trailblazers, high-end users of VR. And I figured this would be a great audience since I just got approval yesterday to start with my dissertation. So I'll be putting out some information on social media. It's probably an hour meeting and engaged or Zoom. I just have a consent form and you'll be anonymous, but I would just, any sort of, if you're willing, I would be forever indebted, but I'm looking for 15 K-12 teachers that are using Engage or other VR, and just what are you doing with it? Like, what impact on student learning are you seeing? And just a conversation. So like 10 questions is all that it is, and I appreciate this opportunity to advertise for it, because it just happened yesterday, so I'm ready to get going.
That's great news, Tim. Just give me 1 second. I've got a couple more people to let into the space here on my laptop.
Perfect.
And then that's fantastic. Stay up on the stage with me, my friend.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Wonderful. So that's fantastic news. We'd love to help you find those 15 people. Are you a member of our Discord already?
I am not. I've been spending the last 2 years writing a 70-page review
right.
of Lit, and like this is not, I finally got released to have some
Yeah.
fun. So
Fantastic. So what I
some
recommend, my friend, is join our Facebook group if you like, but also join the Discord because we have 1,000+ members now, and most of those are associated with some kind of learning institution. You may well find a whole bunch of people ready and willing to join your project there.
Perfect.
So
Yeah. Thank you.
absolutely. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Tim.
Thanks,
Excellent.
everybody. Yep.
And congratulations.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right. All right. Wonderful. That's great news. That's what this community set out to do, was to find individual people doing really amazing work and find other people who might join and collaborate. So if you have any kind of a project, even just an idea of a project, now's jump up, come share with the community what it is you're doing. Yeah, John, you're there. Come on up, John. We got Tony. I know Tim Jackson is about to come. All right, John, we switched your mic free. Let's see.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
right.
so we've been using Engage for the past year. I've been working with Chris and the great guys over there. We've had phenomenal reaction from everybody last year. Started small. We started with some small tests. We started then doing our orientations with our new students online.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I should give an intro. I'm with the Digital Animation and Visual Effects School at Universal Studios. We're part of National University College in Orlando, Florida. So we started by doing some online orientations for students who couldn't get to the campus on time. From there, we expanded doing faculty meetings, doing presentations, and most recently, with the help of Chris a couple days ago, we just did our first whole student body event where we packed the house with 50 people. We had people that couldn't get in, which we're gonna have to figure out how to work around that later. But it was an event, it really pushed the boundaries, taught us some things about, teaching students meeting protocol. We have that problem even if you're on a Skype meeting or a GoToMeeting. So there was some great things, but some of the things that we really found is no pun intended, the engagement factor of this, and being able to demonstrate things and just get everybody involved is just been amazing.
That's great. That's great to hear. It's lovely to hear. Oh, so many individual people like mushrooms popping up in a field. That's the way it feels to me in this community. Like, we're finding out from John what he's doing, finding out from where was it? Who was it? It was Tim, what you're doing. And the more of these initiatives turn up and become public and shareable, the more likelihood is either somebody can learn from that, or you meet somebody who is interested and you can find a collaboration. So that's really what we're trying to do with Educators in VR, is create a platform, a community for people to meet and connect and accelerate this, rather than everybody inventing the wheel for themselves. If you've done something over there and somebody over here can learn, then we want to share that, as long, of course, I know there's IP for some of this stuff, but those people who are willing to share. And what I found in this community, so many people just share openly and freely. It's really, for me, I've been a member of a number of different kind of communities, but this is by far the most exciting and the most open and generous with time and information. So thank you for that, John. Fantastic. Any questions for John from anyone? We can hang around later. Anyone want to, hit John up when we're done? I'm sure. Are you on our Discord as well, John?
I am not, but I will definitely hop on there.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, John. Just as a general recommendation, the Discord is open to anybody. You can find the connection on our website. And we have many different channels there where we have deposited hundreds and thousands of links and resources and projects. We have, like I said, a lot of members. It's really active. You can strike up a conversation. It's where all of our projects live. So if you really want to get neck deep into our community, Discord is the place to do that. What have we got here, Chris? Is this fire training?
Just a background from the Dave School, where John is the academic.
Ah, wow. Okay.
Some of the student works right there.
This is student work?
Yes.
Was that photogrammetry?
No,
Uh,
this is all
usually
3D
that's
modeled.
CGI. Yeah.
Really? Wow, that's amazing quality. That looks like Harry Potter a bit, huh?
Actually, that's what it's from.
Yeah, yeah. Wow. Fantastic.
Yeah, we're excited to have partners like this.
Yeah. Fantastic. I was talking to a guy called Doug Hohulin from Nokia today, and we're going to have him on and talk in the next few weeks and months. Hey, Tim Jackson, I'll have you up in a minute. Come take a seat in the front, my friend. Come take a seat in the front here. I'll have you up in a minute, my friend. Sorry about not letting you into the room. I was kind of already in space. I didn't see it. But I was talking to this guy, Doug Hohulin, today, who works for Nokia, and he's been doing a lot of work on the number 1 billion. So he was really interested at the point where, because he was with Nokia at the time when the humanity had bought 1 million smartphones, and it was really obviously a momentous moment. And then nine years later, we've reached, I think, 7 billion smartphones in the world. So pretty much everybody in the world has at least one smartphone. And for that to happen in 9 years is amazing. And he was talking about this number stuck with him, and he did some research into when, at one point, did we have 1 million vehicles in the world? At what point did we have 1 million PCs in the world, 1 billion PCs in the world, and so on. And he's now obviously very interested in VR, and he's trying to extrapolate by what time we will have 1 billion VR headsets. And at the moment, I think his nearest calculation is 2027, which doesn't seem that long away, considering we're only at a few million at the moment to reach 1 billion by that time. Let's hope he's right. But I was thinking, just imagine if in 7 years' time, there really are 1 billion VR headsets in the world. Imagine how much content will have been developed to feed that. And that will be the full spatial web. And think of, I was really trying to get my head around this. How many experiences there will be available? How much content, spatial content, will be available if the industry can support 1 billion headsets? It will be the full-on, flat-out metaverse oasis, all mixed up together. And we're here right at the time when this is kind of taking off. What an exciting time to be alive and in education for me, and just in the industry altogether. Tim, can I ask you to jump up, my friend?
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring up my slides again there and jump to slides with Chris. 1 second. There we go. Oh, that was the wrong one. Sorry. There we go. Have you seen that? Yeah, this is Chris. This is Tim, sorry. So Tim, I was telling people earlier about how you had taken the opportunity of the lockdown to give your students some headsets and get busy. Do you want to tell them a little bit about how it's gone so far? I know you're quite tired after the first week, right?
Yeah, I'm knackered. By the way, can you hear me okay?
I can hear you well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm loving what you've done with the Moonbase, by the way. I'm loving all the extras. It's looking really nice. Yeah, setting fire to the back is really cool. Okay, yeah, so basically what happened was, obviously with coronavirus and the way it's decimated the world at the moment, it's decimated education. And thank goodness for the last year I've been working with Daniel and Laurel and educators in VR, and it just seemed like a natural step to say, well, look, hey, the college was about to close. We were like days away from closing. And everyone was saying, oh my goodness, what are we going to do? How are we going to go online? Everyone was talking about doing online courses, virtual courses, but their idea of an online virtual course was maybe streaming some video or putting some links up onto a virtual learning environment like Moodle, which is just a website, just a flat screen, say, you know, here's a Word document, student, download it, do some research. And I'm thinking, that's crazy. That's not virtual. That's so flat. It's so boring. And I thought, mind you, what could we do about this? What would Daniel do? What would Laurel do? What can I do with the skill set that I've gained in the last year? And I thought, heck, let's just jump into VR. And I tell you, Daniel, the international summit came at the right time, because I learned so much from that week.
Right.
Hosting and doing some presentations and just generally getting stuck in. I thought, my goodness, this is such a fantastic opportunity, and to take such a negative, bad thing that's happened to everybody and turn it into a positive educational experience.
Yeah.
And that's what I did. So basically, I jumped into Engage and started setting up sessions. I've set some sessions up in Altspace as well. And
just those two platforms? Are you using any other side as well?
Well, just those two platforms at the moment, because they were the two I was most familiar with. Given that we shut down on the Friday, and I had everything up and running by the Monday.
That's amazing. And you've done a whole week. Have you literally done your timetable in VR? Is that what you did?
Correct. All 21 hours.
Hats off, my friend. That's insane. That's insane. You deserve a medal.
It's university level study. So it's
so level 5 in the UK? Level 4, level 5?
Level 5, yeah.
Yeah, in the UK, when you go to university, we have rising tides. Nice. In the UK, level 5 is kind of undergraduate level, isn't it, pretty much?
That's right, yeah. It's the second year of a degree.
And
it's a variety of topics as well. So it's games development using Unity, it's robotics, project management, network engineering. It's a whole host of topics. It's not just one topic.
Do they get homework as well?
I've already issued an assignment, 2 exercises, and they're already going to be in 2 weeks' time presenting in VR themselves.
Right. I need to speak to your boss. I'm going to ask him to give you a raise, man. Whatever you're doing, you need a raise. That's amazing.
Well,
Fantastic.
I did suggest we have our first meet, because we were supposed to be meeting, and I did say to him, can we do it in virtual reality? But there was a restriction on that, so we ended up using Skype.
Fair enough. I actually did manage to get 10 of my managers into VR, and which was fun for its own sake. But I was saying earlier that one of the things that we'll do when we find a new normal and the college opens and the VR lab opens, they will have had that firsthand experience. So when I talk to them about what I want to do, they will have a much better appreciation. I won't have to explain so much.
They can visualize it straight away. And I think actually, I've been planning to do some VR work with the students over the next month or two, but this has just brought the timetable forward on a much bigger scale. And as I said, in one weekend, I got everything set up, and then this weekend I'm setting up next week, and so on and so forth.
I tell you what, Tim, what I'd like to do with you next week or the week after, when you have a minute, if you would, when you have a microsecond of your time, maybe at some point you could jump in, you could join one of our college meetings, and you could just tell my managers a little bit about how you're operating. Would that be cool? Lovely, fantastic, absolutely. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you so much, Tim, for sharing that. I think it's time to go take a swim, my friend.
Thank you.
I'm gonna wait. Here we go.
Splash, splash, splash.
All right. Okay. I'm gonna ask Chris Madsen to come jump up with me for a minute. Because we haven't really caught up. I think properly, my friend. Here, give me a hug. All right. Yeah. Yeah, I know how busy you've been since the summit, and I've been busy, and you've done the VEC and stuff like that. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on for Engage in this space, would you?
Oh my goodness. So of course we had the big educators in VR, and in fact I should point out Caitlin Krause is here with us here in the
Hey Caitlin, hey, all right. Wonderful.
When she showed up, it reminded me, you know what, I had to throw Caitlin's scene up, which is the tree growing slowly over the course of her
oh wow, it is growing too.
Here, the room flood. She used so many 3D assets, really pushing the bounds of what a presentation can be, moving beyond the slideshow where VR matters. And that's kind of the direction all of us are going, is how far can we take VR when we're presenting ideas and education to people. So following that, of course, we received the offer from HTC to do their HTC Vive ecosystem conference,
which was amazing.
in
Yeah.
China because of the virus. So there's why not? Let's just take it in VR. So we went on this crazy moonshot of building this experience in under 2 weeks. It was a monumental effort, working together with their team in Beijing, working with the Seattle office, working with our office in Ireland, and we pulled it off successfully.
Absolutely amazing.
We around the clock, but we did it, and it's amazing. And maybe even at the end of this, maybe we pop over and I can even show you what that looks like. But
Yeah, why not? That'd be
that
lovely.
was huge. And of course, it was a combination of that plus the situation around the world where we're all having to work from our homes.
Yeah.
We've certainly, and Tim just spoke to this a little bit, but we've seen a massive interest in virtual reality, XR overall. Everybody's looking at ways of how do we still connect human to human in any digital environment, whether it's Zoom, whether it's a multitude of platforms. And so here we are. I feel like over the 6 months, the next 6 months is going to propel us probably 5 years.
Fast forward.
Accelerate us 5 years.
Absolutely.
Into what I was originally anticipating adoption cycle to be in across all human-to-human digital technologies. This
Absolutely.
Thank God it's here.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine what we would be doing if all of these technologies were not here.
Exactly.
For that, we can still connect human to human. I get emotional. How many of us are doing Zoom calls
Goosebumps,
on a daily basis with people from around the world, and we're talking to each other in our homes. You see their living rooms behind them, and we're all introducing ourselves of how are you doing, my friend? How are you doing with
how
this?
are you feeling? Exactly. It's not how are you feeling? There's an emotion there, right?
Feeling.
Right.
And so, on one aspect, this is a very challenging time for us in the world. And then on the flip side, it's truly bringing us all together.
It is.
Seeing some monumental things from a human perspective. It's bringing out some of the best in humans as well. And despite that we're going to see some negative things, we're also going to see some positive changes, even long term. It's a mix of interesting things.
It is. Absolutely agree. I think you were saying about how the whole video conferencing is going to accelerate, and I'm quite glad for that, because we're always going to still do video conferencing and Zoom calls. To be honest, there's always still going to be there. But if that can get better as well, the interest in the whole technology will only be a good thing for VR. I think, because more people are going to be looking for the range of possibilities, and those people who've never had a headset on, they're going to come across virtual conferences. They're going to come across, in fact, Zoom. You can do Zoom in VR now. I tried it yesterday. I didn't quite get it working, but I've seen a video for that, and I give you guys a week or two and you'll have the next thing flying in here and working, and I don't know. But yeah, the whole industry is getting so much attention and acceleration. We're going to have a whole palette of viable tools at our disposal when we come back, maybe even to the point where we've all had a collective experience. It's actually, this can work. So how much do we need to go back to the old models that we were stuck in before? We've just had an experience, a really viable experience of doing it from home or doing it in a different way. Why don't we look more into how we can take that forward rather than just going back to what we had?
That's right.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, cool. Any other news from Engage or anything?
Just keep an eye out. We've got a whole roadmap of iterations, features
Fantastic.
coming out. It seems like every month we're putting out some sort of a new update. So
yeah, lovely.
On the horizon, still to come.
And I noticed also that now when I log into Engage, there's a whole bunch of events populated. I know before it was more like individual sessions, but now there's lots of stuff happening in Engage. It's nice to see. It's really cool.
It's interesting. It's kind of the tip of the iceberg, because as you know, a lot of what Engage is private entities.
Exactly.
As well. So what you're seeing there is tip of the iceberg. There's a lot of stuff going on underneath that surface as well.
Wonderful. That's great to hear.
More public-facing events coming out. That's super exciting.
Absolutely. So we're going to do at least monthly, possibly more in Engage, because we got new people coming in. We want to bring other people into Engage under Educators in VR. I love how this tree is growing here. I want to swing off it. Wait. Yeah, so we're going to be doing regular events here, and maybe with a bit of inspiration from you and other people, because I fully agree with what you and Caitlin are doing. I did the slideshow just because I don't have the skill set in Engage yet, but I know what's possible. I've seen some examples of what's possible here, so I want to learn how to turn my events here into something much more interactive. But I'll find a way to do that. Excellent. All right, how are we doing for time, guys? Oh, we got another 20 minutes, roughly. That's okay. I would really like to. Is Ryan still here? Is Ryan still with us? Is he? Oh, is that him at the back? No, I think Ryan's jumped out. All right. Well, maybe if Ryan comes back later, Benjamin DeWitt, would you jump up here with me? This is a nice opportunity. You and I had a couple of chats about what we might do together. And it didn't quite work out at the, you can come up the stairs or you can teleport, Benjamin.
Okay.
All right, lovely. Okay, so everybody, thank you, Benjamin. This is Benjamin DeWitt. Would you see, oh, is it not?
No, Benjamin.
Oh, I see, my mistake. Sorry, I thought I called you out before. All right, well,
No.
do you want to say a couple of words?
Yes, hello. So it's nice to meet here in Engage. It's a great stage. Actually, I'm looking for opportunities to bring customers into VR. At the moment, I'm trying to find a relatively small customer who's running an online shop, but at the same time also has some shops in reality with just a handful of products like I don't know, whatever, can be mattresses or simple products, so that we can have a presentation in VR and simply use this opportunity of the closed shops in the moment and bring them in VR. And
hey, that's interesting. So would that client kind of bring 3D models of the product into VR and be able to demonstrate it and show it? No, not like that.
I think we would need to do it by video to simply show the products, or if it's simple enough to, we would simply remodel. I think.
Sure, make a digital model. Yeah. Oh, interesting. Okay, cool. And have you? I mean, how far are you along with this development? Is it very early days, or are you close to doing something?
It's early days. It's early days in the moment. Yes.
Okay.
Well, we're hurrying. We want to be online quite soon with that.
That's great. I mean, if there's anybody here who's interested in that, feel free to hit up Benjamin later. And you might also want to join our community either in Facebook or Discord, because you might find people there who are interested in something similar. I know a lot of people who are pioneers, they're also entrepreneurs, and you might find somebody there who's done something similar or has some good ideas for you. Good luck with that, my friend.
Good. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. Thank you. Who else we got? Is that Bobby Carlton?
Whoop.
Is that? No, it's not Bobby. I'm getting all the names wrong here. But we have got, Stephen Sato. We've got Stephen Sato. Is that Stephen? Yeah, I think so. Exactly. Stephen Sato from Ready Player One, right? Or formerly Ready Player One, maybe.
Steven, come on up.
All right. Come on up, Stephen. And I'll call on you, Rob, in a minute as well. If that's all right?
You're self-muted there, Stephen. If you want to mute yourself, awesome. There you go.
All right, my friend.
Our product should actually, if I'm self-muted, but you mute as the host and unmute me, it should also unmute me.
Hey, my man.
Hey, how's it going, Daniel? Hey.
Excellent. Great to see you, my man.
Yeah. No, excited to be here. I love all that you're doing, and so many announcements today that I didn't even know about. I'm just like blown away.
Yeah, there's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. Yeah. And our members are just busy people. And I think off the back of the summit, they just caught fire. It's like, wow, what do we do next? They're hungry for the next big thing, which is a great situation to be in.
It's true. It's true. I guess the only thought that I have is there's a great group of K-12 educators, right? Because a lot of university, there's a great group of K-12 educators. They hang out in the Twitterverse under the hashtag AR, VR, and EDU, right?
Yeah.
So that group, while there isn't any sort of like large branding, there's not necessarily a big Discord. Right. There are a lot of K-12 educators out there that are heavily invested into VR, right?
Yeah.
And so that's what I would say is to look for that, follow that, share on through that method.
Right.
not only learn but also to share what you guys have to offer as well.
Is it Jamie Donnelly?
That is
Does she run that
right,
hashtag?
right.
Right. I think did we have her in? I think she came and spoke with us, if I'm not mistaken, at the summit.
That's awesome.
I could be wrong. But yeah, they do amazing work. They're also Michael Fricano. He does out of Hawaii. He does some amazing work on Twitter. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and who was it earlier who was looking for K through 12 educators? It was
I wanted to say that, but okay.
Okay. Yeah. So on Twitter, it's the hashtag ARVREdu. And run by
in EDU. Mm-hmm.
Oh, in EDU, right. And it's run, or I think it's more or less run by Jamie Donnelly. She may have a lot of people interested in what you're doing there. Yeah, it's
specifically
great.
K-12. Yeah.
Excellent.
And then one last announcement, I guess, is I joined the Engage team. So, woohoo! Love it.
Woo-hoo, fantastic.
Oh my gosh, they're working me like a dog, but that's okay.
Saving my ass. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Stephen,
you're welcome.
Stephen, you were here with, was it Mike McCready here on the stage? You guys did a podcast or something
James.
like that? James
McCready.
McCready.
Yeah.
James McCready, that's right.
Yeah, so we got a podcast. James and I do one. The VR podcast also is still there, largely covering conferences, right? So we'll cover FETC, ISTE, Q, if they come back. Which, by the way, ISTE, if anybody didn't see, got pushed back to Thanksgiving weekend. Which is like crazy in Anaheim. So that'll be exciting.
Okay, well, congratulations on joining the team. You must be wild. Must be really cool. And Chris has said, like, I can't believe this guy has come just at the right time because of how busy Chris is. So wonderful.
Well, happy to be here. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Stephen Sater, thank you very much. All right, who else have we got? All right, we got a bit more time. Rob, will you come up here? And then maybe Caitlin, would you be okay to jump up later? Excellent, Caitlin.
Let me unmute you, Rob. Hang on, my
All
friend.
right,
there you
wonderful.
Go. You're unmuted. Yeah, Rob and I had a great time this morning.
Tony, and I just wanna, for Tony over here, I want to give a big shout out. Tony has been super helpful in getting all of our YouTube recordings organized, searchable with the slideshows, I think even, and onto YouTube. So that's amazing task. Thank you so much, Tony. I could not have done that without you, or we could not have done that without you. All right, Rob, how you doing, my friend?
Good. How are you?
All right, yeah.
Closer here. I'm in my. There we go.
Oh yeah. All right. So everybody, Rob here is from Toronto, I think, and he's a paramedic. So right now he's one of those heroes out there saving our bacon. Are you busy with all of that? You must be busy with, or a professor of paramedics, right? You're a professor of paramedics.
So I retired as a paramedic a year ago. So I really dodged the bullet with COVID-19, and
right.
My heart really goes out to my colleagues. I have
a
niece who's a nurse in the emergency department, another niece who's an emergency clerk.
Oh, wow.
And of course, all my friends and colleagues who are out in the field. And
it must be really worrying times. Yeah,
it's not a good experience. To me, the metaphor is they're basically working inside an invisible fire, and their expectation is that the rest of us will help put out the fire by depriving it of fuel, and that means staying at home and
right.
So we'll see what happens, and hopefully we'll all get through this safely.
Indeed. Indeed. All right. Rob, you also, I think you and I, we kind of, over the last few months, we invented our own jobs. We were having a chat about this. So at college, my background is language teaching, and we got some funding for VR, and I got myself taken off the language teaching and dedicated to the VR development. And it's a bit of a similar situation. Hey, look at this. Fantastic. Bit of a similar situation for you, right? You got a bit of funding, and now is it the college has kind of assigned you to look into developing this over 2 years, is it?
Yeah, 2 years of comment. So when I did my master's degree, I had developed quite an interest in virtual and augmented reality, and I got to experience VR for the first time in 2017 and was just really awestruck by the experience. So I managed to get some funding to introduce virtual reality into our paramedic program in the form of patient simulation, teaching empathy, and some online learning in VR.
You could simulate this.
Just
like
so
resuscitate.
I had a conversation with. I really felt that this was a powerful medium for experiential learning, and particularly important at this point in time since we've moved theory classes into an online format. But we're really trapped here when it comes to hands-on experience, and I think virtual reality may be able to fill that gap going forward. So I had a conversation with our vice president academic and our president, and persuaded them that we needed to create a position to lead VR in college. Created the position, posted it, and so now my role is to help faculty programs integrate VR into their curricula where appropriate and desirable. So I'm working with about 27 different programs.
Which is amazing. We were talking about this the other week. Rob also shared a really useful, is it a matrix kind of different platforms? Are you still developing that?
Yeah, so I've been working on a number of documents. I love data, and I love sort of exploring things. So, I have a list of about 400 VR applications that would be appropriate for higher education, and a rubric sort of looking at spatial networks. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So at our college, architectural technology was the first to adopt VR, and they have it fully integrated into the curriculum as of a few years ago. And our paramedic program has VR. Our biotech degree is using VR. Our fine arts program is using VR, which is really exciting.
Here's a question for you. Is there a single department in your college that you think won't be using VR?
Oh, yeah, there'll probably be one or two.
Yeah, one or two. I'm so curious in which ones you think can't use it. Like I'm running around my college, vocational training college here. I'm thinking, I got you. Like I'm thinking, throwing apps at them mentally. Like I want to put you in this one. I want to run this project with you. Yeah.
I would say the only reason why programs may not migrate to VR at this point in time, it's early days, but there's still a shortage of content, and
sure. Sure. But when you say migrate, do you mean kind of integrate as opposed to goes fully over to it, right?
Yeah, integrate. Yeah, so we have 40,000 students, and 5,000 of them are in the health sciences. Speaking of migrating, and
it's a big department.
We're having a serious look at shifting our online anatomy classes to a virtual anatomy class where the student and the students and the teacher will all have headsets, and they'll be in an anatomy lab. So we're looking quite seriously at that for September. And,
cool. And would you have been doing that anyway? Because it's anatomy and because of the content? Because like anatomy and science and medicine is actually, if I'm not mistaken, one of the fields that has had more investment than most in the virtual or in the immersive technologies. Is that right?
Yeah, I would say medicine for sure. And anatomy just makes a lot of sense. So before COVID-19, we had planned to explore anatomy online in virtual reality and immersive. When I say virtual reality, I should specify immersive virtual reality because there's a difference between.
Exactly.
But this COVID-19 has really brought this to the forefront, and so hopefully it'll be the catalyst for even greater innovation on the part of developers. And the education world, I'm not sure they're quite ready to take it too seriously just yet. It's funny. I was on ironically a Zoom podcast the other day with a panel of researchers in the emergency medical services industry, colleagues of mine, and we talked about a recent meta-analysis that was published about online learning, but in the end we talked about what paramedic educators like me can do to shift online. And at the end I sort of talked about virtual reality and experiential learning, and I think some of them went into cerebral overload, just a little tiny explosion in the brain.
You got to be gentle with them, Rob. You got one tiny little micro steps, right?
I mean, I've been teaching online for over 20 years and teaching synchronously on for close to 20 years as well. And so I think their perception of me is, here goes Rob again. But,
you need someone else to sneak in the back and just put them in a headset.
I think, like all of you, they just haven't experienced the epiphany yet. They haven't had that wow moment.
It's an interesting point you say that. And whenever I do VR with my students and my staff, I feel such a sense of responsibility and trepidation, because I know if I get it right for them, their first experience, and they come away having had that experience, then I've got another convert. But if they find a roller coaster or a zombie shoot 'em up game, that's their first experience, it can take months and years until they even consider it again. So I'm always really, that first introduction is really precious for me. Well, I hope
we have.
Go on, Rob. Oh, I'm not hearing you anymore.
You're not hearing me?
Yeah, now I'm hearing you. Sorry. Yeah, it's good.
Anecdotally, speaking of a WoW experience, one of our professors, Dr. Sean Madoran, is using Nanome in the biotech degree program now. And this is a very quiet, soft-spoken guy, incredibly brilliant and equally humble. And I put him in the headset, and he tried the trial version of Nanome. And
does everybody here know Nanome? Do you know Nanome? No, Nanome is run by. I know the guys who run it anyway. I think it's freely available, isn't it, as well? You can definitely sideload it. If not, it's already on the Quest store. I'm not sure which, but essentially it lets you scale up atoms and molecules at a very, very high sophisticated level, recombine them like at a scientific level. It was actually designed for the pharmaceutical industry, and it was quite popular there. And they're bringing it to education, making it available. So people who have the understanding of molecules and chemical research and reaction, so on, they can go right down into it, remodel it, then scale it up, scale it down, and they can and you can collaborate with 4 or 5 people in it or something like that.
Yeah, in fact, scientists around the world right now are looking at the COVID virus in
exactly.
But just getting back to my story, so
sure.
Dr. Madoran, when he put on the headset and started playing with this, I've never heard so many wows and so many F-bombs drop from the
really. That's cool.
Molecules. It was really incredible. It was his epiphany, and literally that morning he purchased 4 Oculus Quests, and he's looking at getting another.
Love that. There should be
another 6. And
yeah, that moment, it really is like losing your virginity, like virtual, virginity. That moment when you're like, pow, my God, I get it. Yeah, so powerful. Wonderful. Thank you very much, Rob. Thank you for jumping up. We got a couple of minutes, and maybe we can hang longer. I don't mind, but I want to thank you very much, Rob. Caitlin, will you jump up? My friend Caitlin.
Let me unmute you, Caitlin. There you
we
go.
first met, was it June, July last year, Caitlin? We had a Zoom call to start with as well. And we really hit it off, like your background in mindfulness and languages, and you grow up all around the world. And, we really have quite a few things in common. Lovely. Thank you for coming to share a bit about what you're doing. Yeah.
You're welcome. Yeah, exactly. It's like break that barrier. I feel like, you just know sometimes you hit the ground running. And I find that often in VR, it's like you have this visceral connection first. And then I think for a lot of us in the room, we're led by curiosity. And I think, there's so much happening right now. And for me, one of these mindful lessons is to just breathe deeply and try to enjoy the journey, and also take into account all that's happening in our bodies that's making us feel unrest as well. So I've been working a lot with different educators, different groups. I just led a session at Stanford for their teachers, moving a lot into online forums. And I think, just for this group too, something that I would put out there as an invitation is just to remember that we're human, because I found myself coming away from the Educators in VR Summit just like charged up with all this energy. And also a feeling, I'm sure you have it too, that there's a landscape of possibility. And at the same time, inside of ourselves, we have these physical bodies that are still needing our nurturing and needing our self-care and our compassion. So
I do know what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. So
it's such a kind of a barrage of stimulation for the mind. What I find sometimes when I do VR standing up, my mind is so occupied. and after like 10-15 minutes my posture starts feeling sore because I'm not paying attention to it. Like the overload is my brain, and then I really need to spend some time adjusting my body till I feel like okay, I'm back in my body. Yeah, you can kind of get drawn up into your mind with VR a little bit.
Well, and I tell people we don't learn from the neck up. We learn with our whole body and our whole element. And for me, working with VR, a lot of the current work and the future work is going to be about how we bridge those divides, like how we both stay conscious, stay human inside of VR. I'll be running a project at Stanford coming up that's about life design and integrating VR into some of our ways of creating hybrids with technology involved.
Fantastic.
So for me, I feel a really big draw to break down these barriers and even get companies and leadership involved in choosing ways that both can be very mindful and kind of good for us too as we're involved, and also how does our creative, innovative brain learn in VR in a way that you can't do in real life.
That's fantastic. It's so great to hear that people like you are working on this, because some people they charge after the technology, other people charge after the content, other people charge after this, after that. I've just spoken also recently to Joel Ward, who's involved in an organization called XR Access, and they've been doing work on making all technologies more accessible, in particular XR technologies. They have a symposium coming up in June, and we want to collaborate with them as educators in VR, because one of the things educators in VR wants to do is reach everybody. It's not enough to reach a lot of people. We want to reach not only people who are struggling financially or culturally or something like that, but also with physical access or visual challenges, auditory challenges. And so the technology needs to cater for everybody. It's not enough if only a few people are able to enjoy this affordance.
I couldn't agree more. And we learn throughout our whole lives. And I think sometimes people come to this thinking, oh, I have to be a K-12 educator. I'm friends with Jamie Donnelly, and she was saying the other day, it's open to parents. It's open to community. We learn through our lifespan. People in companies want to learn and say, oh, I'm a lifelong learner. How do we use VR to kind of peel back the layers of synesthesia and talk about, Kent Bai talked about this in his talk, how we come to learning in VR is almost creating a new language, like a new language for understanding and involving emotional context and experience design. So I think, just thank you again to Chris for creating those memory palaces, because together, at least for my session, I was thinking, why do we need to use slides? People remember in stories that are sometimes encompassed
Very true.
a 3D object. So
I have a lot to learn from you and from Chris and all the wizards, all the VR wizards here.
It's a watch this space kind of moment, right?
It is very much. Thank you very much, Caitlin. Everybody.
Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
Good to be here.
I see here Jay has jumped in. Jay, if you want to jump up on the stage with me quickly, we're gonna bring it to a close, but it's actually a good thing to close on right now. My friend Jay is in Slough, which is just west of London. We hung out recently, and he makes immersive computing. Hey, all right, my friend. There you go. Excellent. So Jay is also a very good friend of Chris Long's, our dear friend Chris Long, who passed away, who used to work for Engage. Jay, how you doing, my friend?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, David?
Very, very good. The reason it's very good to have you on just before we finish, because I wanted to say for next Saturday, we've got a little something planned, and maybe we'll do away with the slideshows for next Saturday. And I'm not even sure where we'll be doing it. Chris, I wanted to have a chat with you about that. But next Saturday, I want to start a bit of a group around VR labs, because there's a lot of people now that I'm aware of, and members of ours, who are getting involved in either very small, medium, or big size labs. So we're going to have, hopefully, Jay, you can make it next Saturday. Joe Millward of TAFE, New South Wales. Is Joe here? No, he said he might make it. Probably wrong time zone for him. He might join. There's a couple of other people, and we want to share what
Lost you there for a
One
second,
up.
Daniel. You're back. You're back. Go ahead.
Okay. I'll say that again. So next week we want to have start a bit of a running event where we discuss what it takes to set up a VR lab and what it takes to run a VR lab, or when you're considering scaling up. So there's some people who have experience with this. For example, Jay and Millward, a couple of other people. Will you hopefully be able to make it next week, Jay?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Daniel. Definitely.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Maybe we can have a chat together about whether we use this space for it, or we, Chris, we can find a different space where we can kind of mock up a bit of a lab. That would be nice. And any other news from down south of the UK, Jay? Everyone safe and sound in your family?
Yeah, no, it's all going well. Obviously, challenging times, but yeah, getting on with it, and yeah, enjoying some time spending in VR and doing some more learning and practice as well. So it's going well.
Yeah. Good opportunity if you're doing nothing else to come in and like develop skills and test things out. There are so many things that I have a whole like in my email inbox folder. I have a folder called R&D, and all the emails that I want to get round to someday of apps and software or experience I want to try. It's like yay long, and I'm working my way through that. Yeah, good way to use the time. Cool. All right. Well, Jay, in that case, we're going to be seeing Jay next Saturday. Thank you very much for jumping there, Jay. And
yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. And Chris, maybe we'll have a chat throughout the week. I want to say thank you very much. Anybody else want any last words before we finish up? I'm aware that you have other things to go to, and my family's waiting for me as well. Sue Glasgow, I didn't ask you up this time. Next time round, run out a bit of time. Thank you very much for coming. You okay? Lovely to see you. Lovely. All right. Well, I've thoroughly enjoyed this. Chris, say something?
I was going to say at the end, Daniel, if you would like me to teleport us to the HTC Vive
Oh, yeah. Let's quickly go.
set, we can certainly do that whenever you give me the go-ahead.
All right. Well, before we go there, I just want to say thank you very much. This is the beginning of more frequent, I don't want to say shows, but events on... Manage the sound there. Yeah, there you go. Okay. Yeah, we're going to be doing more regular stuff here as educators in VR and trying to leave the slideshow behind, come up with different ways of doing stuff. Thank you very much for coming. Zoro, Keith, Tim, Sue, Tony, Lita, Kyoshi, Tim, Caitlin, Benjamin, Jay, Bobby, Rob, Paul, and Daniel in the sky. Chris, when you're ready, he's going to take us over. For those who haven't already seen the Vive conference location, it's really cool. Let's go and have a look at it.
Right,
sweet.
Here we go. We'll transfer
All right.
style here.
Oh, is it the beam again? Yeah, here we go. Get me ready with this.
As it updates for everybody.
There you go.
Any second. You guys are probably, depending on your internet connection, we'll be teleporting at different times, I'm sure. Here we go. I'm at 90%, and we're up.